Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, whichever time you are watching this video tutorial. Glad that you're here. Today's topic is adding and subtracting fractions with unlike denominators. Okay, so get out your pencil, paper, and let's take some notes. So interesting, I have 1/2 plus 2/3, and I see this often, probably with fourth graders, maybe not with sixth graders, but I see fourth graders, if you ask them to add the two fractions, they would say, oh, well, 1 plus 2 is 3. And 2 plus 3 is 5. Therefore, 1/2 plus 2/3 is 3/5. However, if you look at a diagram, a rectangular block here, you can see here is a half. Well, let's shade it in with a different color here. Here's a half. Right? Plus 2/3. Right? And you can see if you could combine those two together, you're going to get more than one whole. You're going to get more than one whole. However, 3/5, well, first of all, 3/5 is less than one whole because right here is another whole block divided into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 parts. You see that? 5 parts. And if I shaded 3 of those 5, it would look like about that, which clearly does not look like these two amounts combined, this and this. If you combine them, it's going to be more than that 3/5. So when we are adding fractions with unlike denominators, we have to find a common unit. A common unit. What do you mean common unit? Well, let's think about it this way. If I asked you right now, hey, what's 1 minute plus 1 second? You would not say, you wouldn't, because one's a minute, one's a second, right? Yeah. You might say a minute and a second, yeah. You might say 61 seconds, yeah. But you wouldn't say 2 because one's a minute and one's a second. Another example, what's 1 dime plus 1 penny? You wouldn't say 2 because one's a dime and one's a penny. You might say 11 pennies, sure. Or you just might say a dime and a penny, sure. Okay, in order to add different units, you have to find a common unit. For example, if I asked you to add a quarter and a dime, I think all of you guys right now would say to me, hey, what's a quarter plus a dime? And I think everyone in here would say 35 pennies or 35 cents. You found a common unit. You just did that in your head. You didn't even realize it, a common unit, okay? So that's what we're gonna do here, find a common unit. So here, if I give you a problem that looks like this, a half plus 2/3, you're like, what can a half and thirds both go into? Well, 1/2, I like to write it horizontally. I do, I like to write, vertically. Oops, vertically. I like to write it vertically. But a half and a third, they both have a common unit such as 6s, okay? And so how many 3s? Now you're just doing equivalent fractions. You're converting the 2/3 into 6s. You're converting the 1/2 into 6s. And so 3 can go into 6 2 times. You just multiply by 2. So you multiply by 2 and you say 4/6. You multiply by 3. You multiply by 3. And you say 3/6. I now have a common unit. I can add my 3 6s plus my 4 6s to give me how many 6s? 7. It's just like me saying 3 minutes plus 2 minutes gives me 5 minutes. I have a common unit. I can add them now. So 3 6s plus 4 6s, yes, that equals 7 6s. And you can change back to 1 and 1 6. Somebody in here might have not found 6s as a common unit. They might have said, you know what? I will add my 1/2 plus my 2/3, and I will convert them to 12s. Well, you can do that. It doesn't matter what unit you use as long as it's a common unit between those two denominators. Both your seconds and your thirds can go into 12ths as well. So here we would multiply by 4, multiply by 4, I did that wrong. Here I would multiply by 6. So here if I multiply by 4 to get 12, I'm going to multiply by 4 to get 8. If I multiply by 6 to get 12, I'm going to multiply by 6. And so now I've just found equivalent fractions. 1/2 equals 6/12. Yeah, that makes sense, right? 6 out of 12, that's a half. 2/3 equals 8/12. Okay, I think you can see that, yep. And now we can add our 8/12 plus our 6/12, which gives you 14/12, which equals 7 6s That equals 7 6. Why? Because if I divide both, let's change this color here. If I divide both by 2, I get 7 6. And 7 6 is just 1/1/6. So the point is, when you're adding fractions or subtracting fractions, you got to find a common denominator, a common unit, okay? So here, let's, I want you to press pause and work this problem out. Press pause, work the problem out, and then we're going to come back to it. But you got to press pause. Please work the problem out. All right, welcome back. So let's just solve this together. Make sure you solve this correctly. So again, I always like to write my problems vertically, okay? 3 1/3 plus 1 1/4. I think it's just a little cleaner to do it that way. A common unit of thirds and fourths. Some of you guys might have said 24ths. Sure, you could, but I'm going to say 12s. That's the lowest common denominator or multiple. So I change it to 12s, change it to 12s. Now all I'm doing is finding equivalent fractions. So how many fourths can go into 12s? 3. Absolutely. Multiply by 3, multiply by 3. How many thirds can go into 12s? 4. So multiply by 4, multiply by 4. Now we can add our numerators because we have a common denominator. So 4 12s plus 3 12s gives you 7 12s. 3 1s plus 1 1 gives you 4 1s, and we are finished. We are finished. So that was the solving or the tutorial on adding and subtracting fractions with unlike denominators. What I would like for you guys to do is solve these 3 problems, and we'll go over them in class. There's 3 problems here. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Make sure you solve these problems, and we will go over these problems during class time. I hope you guys enjoyed the video tutorial, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.